Back over here on the right.
Yeah, Kirk Bowles from the Austin American-Statesman. Mark, if you could talk about Nick Saban and Urban Meyer, two of the big heavyweights in the game. Do you think we'll see more coaches like them that stay on long, win a lot of multiple championships?
There's not too many guys like those two that you just mentioned. I mean, obviously, whatever the highest distinction is, it's Hall of Fame, it's icon, whatever whatever those words are. The two names that you just mentioned absolutely qualify for that, and that's why it's been a great experience for me to be a part of it and see in preparing for Ohio State and all the challenges they present. You watch Alabama, and these guys beat soundly, one of the best programs in the history of college football, and sort of be around that and absorb all that. Hopefully, it does nothing but help us. And I don't know if there's too many Nick Sabans and Urban Meyers just sitting around, but there's a lot of talented coaches in our profession for sure.
Come back over here on the right. Bruce.
Bruce Feldman, Fox Sports. This is for Urban. I know Joshua Perry's developed a really special relationship with a boy who's battling cancer down in Florida. How would you describe the kind of person Joshua is?
That's a great question I'd love to talk about. He's a guy that was committed to Ohio State before we got there, a guy that was not very highly recruited, you could tell right away, very talented guy. He's still growing into who he was as a person, arguably the best family, one of the best families I've ever been around, and just started to grind and work. And I think through the internet I saw a couple pictures of what he looked like and now he looks like now. And he's got multiple job offers waiting for him when he's done playing college football. One of those job offers will be in the NFL. I mean, that's how much he's improved. So he's what college football is all about. He's a kid that when my son, who's a freshman in high school now, my son gets to spend time with guys like Josh Perry, because I think that's critical that he's around those kind of guys. And it's not surprising when I see how he has the incredible ability to make someone's day a little brighter, and he takes that very serious. So a great young man.
Ralph.
Ralph Russo, the Associated Press. Both of your teams have had to overcome injury adversity in its own way. How does that make a team stronger, being able to get past that next man up attitude?
Oh, I think that's the essence of what our jobs are. You are going to hit storms, and we prepare. That's a big part of, I'm sure Mark feels the same, every coach probably feels the same, that a lot of our time is spent certainly in the off season, whether it be leadership training. You've heard about the E+R=O, where there's going to be events that take place. How do you respond to the events? You can't control those. There's going to be things happen that are from bad to awful. And how does that team respond? How does your family respond? And that's when people have issues. And we're all broken people that have to have some direction, some purpose, and some guidance, and we work extremely hard on that. And to see our team respond, I made the comment before that this this team has taught me so much about how to respond to adversity, because I can't remember coaching a team that's been through more. Certainly when the Braxton Miller situation, then throughout the course of the year, other things have showed up, and they have really responded. So that's the essence of a good team. If you can hit the storm and come out the other end stronger, that's called a real team. And how many are those out there? I've done this 30 years and probably can count them on one hand. And some people might think it's the luck of the draw. I think it's leadership and training, and we certainly had that this year.
And I think just to echo some of that and agree, obviously, with everything Coach has said, learned a lot about our team last spring and early summer, just of getting to see how much these guys truly cared about each other was rare. And then whether it's injuries or, everybody talks about that word adversity, whatever that may be, or tragedy in the terrible case this year with Coach, injuries or loss. We've been playing, both our program and Ohio State have played with that kind of early loss, and it was your back was against the wall to get to this point. Every play of every game, the entire rest of the season, it was to use those words, do or die. And so you learn a lot about people. After our loss, we went out, and I've told the story many times, we went out, walked out to practice. I was out there 25 minutes early, and I was the last person out to practice. The entire coaching staff, every single player, and they were out there together. It wasn't, hey, Ralph, that was your fault. It was, let's fix this type of mentality. And that's when you kind of just, it slaps you right in the face. And you already think you know your team pretty well. When something bad happens, what's next? And I think in both these situations, the players and certainly Coach Meyer and his staff have done a tremendous job.
Go back in the back.
Back left over here for both of you gentlemen, Urban and Mark Kenny wrote to WHBC Radio. As you head into this game tomorrow night, what concerns you more? Your young kids handling the mental pressure, or this is game 15, the entire team handling the physical nature of this game and the pounding that they have taken and still have to play another game?
I think both, but our number one concern is their quarterback. I mean, it is what it is, that we're facing that's true, and those are all addressed, but those aren't quite as serious if that kid behind center for Oregon's not who he is. And so that's our biggest concern. The wear and tear, I think that has more to do with the practice, the approach was drastically different than anything that we have ever done as far as the practice routine. Really leading up, not just this week, but leading up to the Alabama game too. And we just don't have the depth right now that probably most teams don't. But the scout team issues, those are all issues that you handle more in practice. So I think the wear and tear during the course of the game, it's unique because it's a very high-tempoed offense. But our biggest concern is that guy receiving the snap every play. I think he's one of the finest that's ever played the game, and that's our issue.
We're going to go right back here.
Dan Moriarty, CNN. Coach Meyer, Cardell Jones started off the season as your third-string quarterback, but has led you to a couple big wins. Can you describe what about him made that possible?
Still trying to figure that one out. He actually won the job in spring. He beat out JT, and he's a guy that was not a finished person, was not a guy that would finish drills, would finish, obviously finish spring number one quarterback, would be behind Braxton when Braxton came back, and then August came over, and summer training, JT beat him out. His leadership, his toughness. Cardell has always had talent, but really something happened in the last, couple months. I know he had a little baby girl. I know there's been some, everybody in life has a chance to push restart. Not many people on the grand stage like Cardell has, and he pushed restart and he hit the right button. And it's called selfish approach and a very serious approach to how he handles his business off the field and on the field. So that's one of the great stories in college football and one of the great stories that I've witnessed. And like I told people, this should be, of all the things that my children learn in school, I want them to read about the case study of Cardell Jones, because it's a great one. It's a great one for everybody to read and learn from it.
Right down here in front, and then we have our last question over here.
Yeah, Urban Meyer. This is Tim May with the Columbus Dispatch. Urban, two questions. Number one, the latest conversations you've had with Braxton, do you expect him to return to Ohio State for his fifth year? And then number two, what is the biggest change you've seen in Cardell from 3 games ago to now that gives you more confidence than maybe you had 3 games ago?
I do expect Braxton to return. Second, Cardell, when he took over the game, actually in the rivalry game, near the confidence wasn't there for us to call a typical game. Against Wisconsin, if you really broke that down, we didn't really allow him to do very limited role as far as and he played great. I mean, lights out. Against Alabama, pretty much the entire, we let him go play, and then this one, he's got it all. As far as really everything. So his preparation, the way he handled it, he's an incredible practice player that I really have not seen him that way. And his, before the Alabama Wednesday practice, I remember walking off the field again, looking at Tom and just saying, my goodness, that's one of the best practices I've ever seen a player have. So he's got the keys to the car, and the way he handles his business is just it's extraordinary, the change he's made in his approach to the game.
Take our last question over here, Stuart.
Stuart Mandel from Fox Sports. Urban, your defense seems to have kind of, I don't know if something clicked, taken it to another level, starting with that Wisconsin game and then the Alabama game. What do you think happened, and what gives you confidence that they can rise to the occasion again against the Heisman Trophy winner?
I noticed that too, Stuart. We played good defense throughout the year. Sometimes great defense, and other times not as good. We gave up some big hits. I think, obviously it's the players, and I give Mike Bennett a lot of credit. He's a guy that has leadership qualities, and they haven't always been. He has the qualities where people follow. He's a very talented player, but his approach to the game, the last month of the season has been phenomenal, and I see that carry on. And so it always starts with the defensive front. They played very well against Wisconsin, dominated the game, especially Adolphus and Mike Bennett inside. And they carried on, and they played very well against Alabama. So I give the credit to the defensive line, and Mike Bennett's a big reason. So a lot of reasons, but I've noticed the same thing, and the approach in practice has also been extraordinary. So I give a lot of credit to Mike Bennett and that group.